Hello, you snacks. Welcome back. Hope you're H2O'ing out to some good hydration today. I don't think you're ready for the weirdness of some of these stories today. First of all, everyone pray to our Lord and Savior, Mr. Tibbles. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Pretty certain I've lost up to 3 hours of my workday today because this goddamn cat would not stop needing attention from me. Anyway, this recently updated story begins way back in June last year with a nicely titled Super Frickable Wife, Super Unfrickable Husband. So you began some innocent subreddit where people really enjoy swing sets, apparently, I guess. Hey guys, I'm using a throwaway account because I know my partner is in this sub. And you decided to name it Super Unfrickable Husband. Wow, great start. So hi, I am the female part of the equation here and am 30, he's 34. We have been married for 5 years and have been swinging for about a year now, and it has been a learning experience. I have more intimate experience than he does, and I don't have any shame. But I really struggle with the lifestyle because I am a very attractive female who has a ton of personality and can have a conversation with anyone about anything. My husband, on the other hand, is not nearly as attractive as I am because he's extremely overweight, but his personality is a 1 million out of 10. So I find so many more people approaching me and carrying out conversations with me, and it feels very wife hunter. And when I ask the wife to connect with my husband, they ghost us. We have had a few successful experiences, but this is becoming more and more of an issue recently, and I am becoming increasingly frustrated. Does anyone have any advice? Now, to be clear, we don't sleep with others separately. At all. Ooh, that's some foreshadowing. Now, what's great is that in an immediate edit, what happens to make this even more awkward for the OP to talk about? Edit, he saw the post, knew it was me, and we had a conversation about it. I think I would describe myself as a polysexual person, and it has been an issue in our marriage for as long as we have been together. He is not willing to be in a short-term open relationship while he loses weight, which is something I pitched. He says he is going to get serious about the weight loss, and I'm hesitant to be hopeful, but I did tell him that he has until January 2024 to prove this to me, and we both want to continue to swing so the desire I have for wanting more can be fed. I am very cautiously optimistic, and it's weighing heavily on my mind that we are avoiding the inevitable. Now look, I'm sorry for speaking so negatively about the man that I am in love with. This post came out of a place of frustration, and I wasn't being my best self. Ah yes, the power of smexual frustration and what it does to a person. So we're not off to a good start. In case you heard that, my cat knocked something off my desk. Thank you, Mr. Tibbles. And of course, he immediately sits on my keyboard. Great, okay, we're gonna work with this. Anyway, where do you stand with this? Personally, it feels odd to sympathize with someone who's essentially frustrated because their partner is too fat, but not for their tastes, for everyone else's tastes. All's well and good is that the guy wants to try and help out with this situation and lose weight for her to make her happy and make this all work, but this doesn't feel like he's really, or she's really empowering him to do this for the betterment of their relationship, but more like a veiled threat that everything he's worked for will fall apart if he doesn't change for her standards. Now, what's interesting, though, is that throughout this entire event, the husband actually comes over to post some comments himself. At the time, he said, "So I'm the husband, I'm 6 foot T, I'm 6'2", I am on testosterone therapy, also male stuff is not an option, neither is a whole pass. I have been on keto and it was not sustainable for the long term." Go on to say, "Even when I turn into Ethan Suplee," that's this guy right here, notice his dramatic weight loss right there, "I wouldn't dream of leaving her because of a little extra weight. I am incredibly attracted to her exactly how she is today, but honestly, what matters more is the fun and laughter we share. Now, this is a small part of our lives, and I understand your point, but I can speak to the assumption that I would leave and tell you absolutely not. I also know that I don't make the decisions for her, and what she chooses to do is not up to me. Signed, the unfrickable husband." Yeah, that's in response to this comment here, which, wow, all aboard the breakup train. Now, it's clear that it's not just only his personality that is keeping you there, and I can bet my hand that he agreed to the lifestyle because you wanted it and didn't want to lose his intimate access to you because he knows he is in a bad position and didn't want to think about doing the hard work of losing weight. Short answer, separate and do you. Don't wait because you know you will leave him. That ultimatum won't work because he is not doing it consciously for him. Going on to say to basically get as much of that duck and putty as now while you can because beauty won't last. Ah, what a inspirational and healthy way to pursue intimacy and that fun. Collecting them like Pokemon badges. Oh, but on the other hand, if he gets back in shape, you would want him to stop, because now the roles will be reversed and either you'll be dumped or you'll have to stick regardless. And yeah, that's when the quote-unquote unfrickable husband replied and pointed out that, no, he loves her for who she is. And even if he got super sexy and stuff, he wouldn't just suddenly be as, I guess, harsh as she is about his, like, body shape and everything. Now, the wife also commented at the time, kind of just sharing the predicament she's in, because she is genuinely in love with her partner, but to fulfill this other aspect of her life, well, he's got to change. Also, take note, he's 450 pounds. Now, just to get you a visual comparison, and of course understand that weight doesn't account for one's bone density and all that kind of stuff, you know, muscle mass as well. But this person here, apparently themselves on the left, that's 450 pounds. So, for the general person in the swinging lifestyle, you can understand that if they aren't into the larger bodies, then yeah, makes sense why the wife is struggling to find mutual experiences. Brings a bit more understanding to the frickable wife and unfrickable husband, right? Oh, again, my friends, I must remind you of the foreshadowing. So, okay, the wife also says, we are in weekly therapy because we have other issues to work through, and our therapist is aware we are ethical non-monogamy. I go to the gym 5 days a week and always try to get him to go in with me. I mean, he does every once in a while. I try to get him to go on walks with me and the dog, but he finds an excuse. I prepare meals that are health conscious and balanced. Now, 2 days later, the allegedly chubby hubby comes to explain his side of the debacle. And oh boy, time for a dose of copiism. Hey guys and girls, this is not my throwaway. Feel free to dig through my past comments. I am 6'2". I had bariatric weight loss surgery and lost over 170 pounds. I haven't gained any back. I've plateaued, mainly due to a lack of activity and poor diet, the things that made me obese in the first place. I started testosterone therapy a while ago, and well, what a difference it made. We get it on way more often now, and I am actively working with my doctor to improve stamina. I come from a Catholic background and was extremely monogamous before educating myself and trying swinging with my wife. We have had some success, and the best part is the time I get to spend with her heading to dates or the download after we play. The adventure is the destination for me, and I know it satisfies the strange she craves, so we have been active for about a year now. So just take note of that. This ethical non-monogamy has been proposed since basically June 2022. Now, after speaking to her last night about the post, I wasn't able to wrap my head around separate play. That's not something I am comfortable with. I would feel very emasculated, and I don't know how I would be okay sitting at home alone while she sleeps with someone else. But I have committed to her, and that this is a wake-up call and will be making the weight loss changes our relationship needs, that I need to be a better partner and husband. Plus, benefits as we engage in the lifestyle. Now, she wasn't kind about me in the post or comments, and I was actually surprised how supportive most of you were. Our relationship is and has always been my #1 priority. When we talked again this morning, she did apologize for the way she portrayed me and honestly how much worse her delivery was in person. I'm not asking for advice, just giving an update from my side. If anyone wants to be accountability buddies, I'd love that, or anything else this community can offer in support. Much love to you all from the unfrickable husband. God, dude, every time I hear him, it's like sign off as unfrickable husband, you tell that this has absolutely affected his self-confidence and self-worth. Self-confidence? So yeah, understandably, this kind of just makes more people hate on the wife here. But again, she has acknowledged she was coming from a very unhealthy place of, like, opinion, and she doesn't think he's less than. It's just the circumstances they're in that ultimately he is the problem. What do you think? Do you think that's not an excuse? Do you think despite the fact he does genuinely believe that this is something he needs to work on, not just for their relationship, but also for his health, that maybe it's just a cop-out? See, he does make more comments in that post, pretty much defending his partner's actions and pointing out that they do love each other and he wants to compromise and find out what makes them both happy. Having people say things like, oh, first off, congrats on losing 170 pounds plus. First thought when I read that, what she wrote, harsh, and then was thinking, like, how is he not going to know who she is talking about? Could have at least changed some ages and not make it so obvious. I mean, the way I see swinging, we do it together or we don't do it at all. My thought is if my wife has to go out without me, we have some problems that need to be addressed. One thing I learned is, take care of your happiness, physical and mental health first. Best of luck with your weight loss journey. To which OP replied, yeah, that's where she is. She doesn't want to be limited by my weight, and she is blaming that as why we haven't found great swinging partners. She is constantly pursued by men and loves the attention. but she is frustrated that their wives don't want to play with us because of me. So we are going to address the weight, and hopefully that is the only thing holding us back. Otherwise, as she put it, it's an open relationship or a divorce. No pressure. But oh man, the more of his comments you read, the more almost nihilistic he becomes. That he's still so very in love with her, but is slightly coming to the acceptance that he's going to lose the marriage. He can't give her an open marriage, but he'll fight for the things she wants because they're in his best interest too. But do you think that's a healthy mindset about pursuing all this, the weight loss and stuff? I feel it's already been tainted by her threatening divorce. But of course, we don't control what we are attracted to. We're attracted to what we're attracted to, you know? Sure, we can be influenced, but ultimately, it's not really fair to force us or force each other to be attracted to what, someone is just as they are. I mean, if that were a case, then a lot of incels would suddenly have a lot more rights to demand women to be into them. But basically, this is where it ends, with this final comment that he believes he has the capacity to forgive her for her comments, and thinks that she still has the capacity to believe in him and them together. And that's the last we heard. It was radio silence as they worked on their marriage and his weight loss journey until February, just 8 days ago in fact, giving us an 8-month update from the super unfrickable husband. And oh boy folks, hope you're ready for some twists and little turns around. So many things that looking back seem very obvious now. I wanted to pop in and share an update. Last year, my partner made a post called the super frickable wife and super unfrickable husband. She was upset because she blamed my weight as why we weren't connecting with tons of swinger couples, and she had a point. I responded to her post with as much grace and accountability as I could, and the outpouring of support from this community was amazing. I expected trolls, and instead you all just showed love. So maybe for cathartic reasons, or maybe some of you actually remember and wanted an update, here it is. I kept my word, immediately made diet and lifestyle changes, contacted my surgeon to schedule part 2 of my weight loss surgery, and included her in everything. We actually met a couple, and things were great for a while until it became obvious that she was way into them and I was the outsider. She ignored boundaries, ignored my communications of I don't feel like a priority to you, I don't feel like you value me, all you want is this couple, and even told me at one point, I don't give a frick about your feelings. I met with a divorce attorney at the end of July. The rest we can summarize with some quick hits. So I filed in August, she made a false show of not wanting it, but never took action or responsibility for her actions. She moved to Florida after contacting her affair partner. Yes, she had been having an affair since September 22 to June 23, on top of swinging with me. Well, look at that, folks. Turns out the real motivation for making this post about being frustrated about your partner being unfrickable and not getting your satisfaction purely comes from the fact she's been rejected from her affair partner. It wasn't an issue of I have no one to sleep with because of my husband. It was actually I have no one to sleep with except my husband. Now, since then, I had my surgery and continue to lose weight and become even more frickable as each day goes on. Now, here's where I think the real twist comes in, folks. But before we reveal it, I want to add the context that my criticism purely comes from the basis of the wife's predisposed ego in her first post, how she has a lot of intimate experience unlike her partner. Just basically ranting about how much better and more, higher value creature she is compared to her man. Ooh, she gets the wife hunter experience. Men are just all over her. She's super frickable. He's completely disgusting. My real weight at the time of post, 537 pounds, which apparently is closer to this at 500 pounds alone. Her real weight at the time of the post, 292 pounds. My weight today, 394 pounds. And again, for comparison, this is 292 pounds here. Now again, I want to accentuate, my issue isn't the body size. It's the audacity to shame your partner online and be so blatantly disrespectful about his own size and weight and not at all be supportive towards him about it, let alone to also end up being a cheater this entire time too. Now, of course, how convenient she also happens to be a cheater and an a-hole this entire time does make one skeptical this is actually a true story, but if we spent our times being as nihilistic and skeptical as the people on r/am I the angel criticizing every single issue of a story where someone is turning out to actually be the good person in it all, we would never have any fun reading these stories, so feel free to think it's fake or not, either way, it's a fun time. So yeah, I write this as a reminder. It seems like this sub needs them daily. Swinging doesn't fix a broken relationship. Strong boundaries and accountability are the foundation for opening a relationship or marriage, and we obviously had neither. Happy to answer any questions, but just wanted to close with again, this community is amazing. The love y'all showed me has helped tremendously. Now again, about 140 pounds weight loss, and considering this has been like 8 months since they last posted, I don't know, you really have to kind of commit to this sort of stuff and set up reminders to bother continuing with the fake stories, you know? I'm content believing this is a true experience. It can happen. And naturally with the revelation of each other's true body weights, I got some people being critical because of their own subject opinions of what they find attractive. But again, I'm gonna say it. So what if you don't find that frickable? That's not the issue here. You're being just as critical and egotistical about your standards as the wife was, regardless of what you think the perfect body is. She had people that were into her. She was in demand. But of course, it has very attention that the OP comments, yeah, the amount of men who threw themselves at her was staggering. She translated this to her being super hot instead of men being men. I don't know. Hindsight has definitely dimmed her in my views. There was a time where I thought she was amazing. So yeah, overall, seems like the man's not lost only 140 pounds, but also 292 in the meanwhile. And as OP themselves even said, it's another great example as to how the swinging lifestyle or any of that sort of thing, you shouldn't really go into it until you've actually really cemented every single corner of your relationship. Yeah, I'm getting that Facebook update. If you can't handle me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best vibes from that wife. Oh, and what's funny is that in the compilation of these posts in the Redditor updates subreddit, OP came back to comment on that very comment. Oh, I've seen this multiple times on her page before we divorced. Am I the a-hole for controlling what my boyfriend eats? Throw away because I don't want him to find this, but I'm honestly at my wit's end here. I'm 23 female, and I've been dating my boyfriend, Jake, 24 male, for 4 years. I'd say we're a happy couple overall, but lately this argument has come up that's divided us. He's always had unique tastes. Cereal with orange juice instead of milk, mayo and butter sandwiches, and raw onions have been the worst culprits. I've put up with these. We all have our quirks, right? Well, 2 weeks ago, he started eating garlic as his midnight snack. Raw cloves of garlic. I can't share a drink with him without it reeking of garlic somehow. And kissing him? Well, it's like shoving a clove straight in your mouth. He swears he's only eating them, because I don't want them to go to waste, and that he would stop once he finished the head of garlic. But just when I finally thought it was over, I caught him sneaking a second one into the kitchen last night when he thought I was asleep. I confronted him about his secret grocery trip this morning, and he got really defensive and denied it. I'm trying not to be a nag here, but it's really wearing on me. The garlicky aura surrounding him makes me want to avoid him at all costs, but like, I don't want to do that because he's my boyfriend. Am I the a-hole for giving him an ultimatum of no more eating garlic? And now for a very understandable edit for context. His diet seems healthy overall, and he goes to the gym a lot. He had a doctor's appointment not long ago, and I don't think anything came up. But I can ask him to go again. And yeah, look, sorry if the title is confusing. I just feel bad because I did give him an ultimatum this morning, which I know isn't good. I really love him and don't want to break up, but I just don't know what to do. He hasn't come back since this morning. So okay, end of the day, this just seems to be an issue of bad breath. She's fine with the eating habits, it's just the fact that he's not, freshening himself up afterwards, not chewing on a mint after eating some garlic. Basic etiquette, you know? Now when people ask, well, okay, have you tried to convey this at all? OP said, well, I tried to explain when I talked to him this morning. I told him that the other weird food combos don't really bother me, but the particular smell of this is too much. He said that I just need more time to get used to it, but it's been nearly 2 weeks already. Also, apologies if you're suddenly hearing some slight little bell jingles in the background. Tibbles is on the desk right now, chewing on his collar. Now, is there a possibility that maybe this garlic tastes really good? It's got some sort of flavoring to it that, OP just isn't aware of. Well, no. She's tried to bite it herself, and it's definitely not at all nice. No. Now, it should be noted, though, this isn't, his only diet. OP does mention that he does eat his vegetables and get protein and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like all he eats is mayo and butter sandwiches. Jesus. None of you are ever allowed to criticize me ever again for having Nutella and tomato sauce sandwiches. At least there's flavor in that. But folks, here's where we add a bit more foreshadowing for the update coming up next. Any other noticeable weird things, OP? Well, she says, we haven't been going on our usual dates for the past 2-ish months, and he's had to leave to take calls a bit, but that's just because he's been swamped at work. work. Nothing weird. His busy season is almost over though, which is good. Well, folks, the next day we get an update. Thank you all for your advice yesterday. It gave me a lot to think about. As it turns out, some of your comments ended up being spot on. Yesterday evening, I tried texting him about seeing a doctor like you guys suggested. He never replied. I guess he still has me muted. I spent the night tossing and turning. I kept going over what I was going to say to him when he got home. Not that it mattered, because he didn't come back last night. That worried me. So this morning, I checked his location. He stopped sharing it with me through his phone, but I guess he forgot I can still see it on Snapchat. It showed him about 30 minutes away at some house off a random back road. I was pretty confused and honestly panicked. All his friends that I know of live in the city. I tried to call him again and was sent a voicemail, so I drove over there to see what was up. When I got to the house, I noticed a woman about my age gardening in the front yard. I was pretty upset already, so I flat out asked her if she had seen my partner. She seemed surprised and asked if I meant Jake. She invited me inside, and there he was. Apparently, she's into gardening, and they met at her stand last fall when he went to stock up on onions at our local farmer's market. They hit it off and have been seeing each other for the past 6 months, and made it official back when his busy season started. She said lately she's been giving Jake the garlic she grew last summer since it's going to go bad soon. That's why he was so insistent on eating it by himself instead of cooking it into a shared dish like normal. And that's why he's been eating onions like an apple instead of letting me use them on my sandwiches. He didn't want to give me her presents because, in his own words, well, she grew it with love for me. And if you ate them, you would have known. What? Oh, the audacity is so ridiculous that honestly kind of makes it more believable. At that point, I saw red, so I just left. Since then, Jake's been blowing up my phone about how we can fix this and that he won't do it again, but I'm so over it at this point. Oh, OP, no, you cannot stop it there. You've got to send those texts back to the other girl. Let her know how much he is willing to drop her. Now, just when I thought my life couldn't get any worse, while I was moving his stuff to the curb today, I found his stash of garlic. Shoved in the back of his closet was 1 pound of garlic in a Home Depot bucket, along with letters she had written him. I'm keeping the garlic. I don't think we can ever come back from his cheating, but I'm gonna at least get some good meals out of this terrible situation. Please send me your favorite recipes to use garlic in. I need a distraction to keep my mind off of everything. So in the weirdest TLDR, he's been cheating on me with a garlic farmer for the past 6 months. I wish I was joking. So I'm in the same boat as this comment. Like, I figured the garlic breath was a purposeful way for the boyfriend to encourage OP to break up with him. Like, purposefully sabotaging the relationship. Or also a way to excuse himself from having to, be affectionate towards her anymore. Because, he smells so bad. Of which I think this story is going to give a lot of insecure women just so much comfort now whenever their boyfriend starts to smell and they don't bother to have a shower. Over to an oldie, but a goody twist nonetheless. Me, 24 male, with my girlfriend, 32 female of 2 years. Moved in 6 months ago, and I am disgusted by a secret she's been keeping. This is a throwaway, as I have friends that use Reddit, and I'd like to keep this from them. So she is, or was, a fantastic woman, and I am in love with her. We have always been able to work arguments out and have a fantastic time together. She loves me, and we have talked about marriage sometime soon. About 6 months ago, we decided to give moving in a try and see if we could be compatible living together. It was great until last weekend when I discovered something she has been keeping from me that is a deal breaker. She is a Nazi sympathizer. We are both Caucasian, but we both have a very diverse upbringing. She grew up without knowing her father and had a Hispanic stepfather and has a half-sibling from that marriage. I grew up in Sacramento and have a lot of friends of all races. Personally, I don't have a racist bone in my body, but clearly she does. She just doesn't know that I know. But okay, this is what I know and how I know it. She let me use her laptop last weekend because mine was being repaired. I needed to research something for work, and either she wanted me to see this or she forgot about it. She left for work and had left up a browser, and it was on some weird blog full of racist rants. I was trying not to jump to conclusions, but my curiosity, snooping, got the best of me, and I looked at her history and bookmarks. What I saw was mortifying, and I felt physically ill. I've had a week to process this, and I know I need to bring it up. I just don't know how. This very well could be the end of the relationship. Part of me hopes that she is interested in what these kind of people think, but how likely is that? It's wrong on so many levels, and I don't see myself with someone like this. So ending it with a plea for help into how to approach the situation could, you're right, for all we know, she could have gone down a rabbit hole of curiosity herself. It's not like she was posting any of these things. Is Opie right to be disgusted, or is he just projecting a huge assumption? Because as comments warn, if she hasn't given you any indication prior to this in word or action, then giving her the benefit of the doubt seems reasonable. I search for all sorts of weird stuff, thanks Reddit, that might need an explanation if someone went snooping. Ask her about it, but try not to be too accusatory when you do. Even if she does have those leanings in her mind, she obviously knows they're wrong if you haven't had a sign of them before now. And yeah, Opie responds, well yeah, she has never indicated that she has a racist bone in her body. I think that might be why I am concerned with bringing it up, and I just want to get an idea of how I should approach this. Thank you for the advice. And that's met with more mutual agreements that hell even I can relate to. Going on forums that discussed you seeing content online that you'd be like, oh man, that's just, no, I do not agree with this at all, but I'm still curious to see the audacity of people have when they make these sort of opinions. Well, in the update 3 days later, hey Reddit, thanks for all the advice. I did what almost everyone suggested and talked to her. I chose to speak with her about this on Saturday night, and this is how the conversation went to the best of my memory. Hey, do you remember how you let me use your computer the other day? You left some weird site up. What was that all about? What do you mean? Well, it was on some blog with a lot of weird racist stuff. I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, well, what about all of the bookmarks and history? There is at least months worth of similar blogs. Why the frick were you snooping through my history? Well, I thought I'd have a right to know if I'm dating racists. She blew up on me at this point and yelled for a good 10 minutes about how I invaded her trust. Then, the bombshell. She admitted to being a Nazi sympathizer. She tried to justify it by saying she is being affected by all of the immigrants coming to the US and stealing jobs and some other stuff you would only think was funny watching it on South Park. I could have debated her about it, but I was just kind of taken back by it all, and I don't know if it would have made a difference. This intelligent person has let hate fill her heart. I thought I would give her one more chance to see if there would ever be a way to get past this, and I asked her if she would see a therapist and see where this hate stems from. Maybe then we can help her recover from whatever brainwashing has happened to her. She told me that her views were not a problem and nothing a whack job, a therapist, says will change her views. As I stated with everyone else here, this is a deal breaker for me, and I'm sure 99.9% of you posters would agree. I hope. I explained that I can't respect her views and I have no respect for how she is choosing to live, and I can be no part of it. I left that night with my basics and I am staying in a hotel. I plan on getting my stuff out this week as I already have an apartment lined up. Okay, that might be completely unbelievable in our current time frame, but understand this is over 10 years old, this post, so that's why this is possible. Already having an apartment lined up within the week? Yeah, nah mate, not in 10 years in the future. In the meantime, she is still trying to force her views on me and sending me links to the garbage she is spewing. As soon as I have all my stuff, I will go no contact and find a loving, good person to spend my life with in time. I'm more angry right now than anything else. I feel sad, yes, but not as much as I would have thought. And ultimately ending it there, thanking everyone for their advice, wishing they could have been wrong instead, but fascinated that everyone was actually correct, and it was her being interested in the viewpoint of asinine neo-Nazi culture stuff. But it still leaves that curious question that some comments bring up. How the heck has she not revealed any of this within a 2-year relationship? People with such strong opinions like that, especially if you're like at levels of Nazi sympathy, not just a devil's advocate of racial issues, like it's pretty hard for those kind of people to keep their extreme views hidden. Opie responds, well, yeah, part of me thinks that this is a recent thing and leaving the browser up was a way to let me know her views. If that's the case, I'm glad she did it. Now I know we aren't compatible and never will be. To which I agree with these other comments. I think this is a case of someone who's just been brainwashed over a short period of time. It's a great example of it. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are, there's a difference between intelligence and wisdom. And she clearly has intelligence, but not the wisdom to understand when she's being brainwashed. Opie going on to explain that she would use all these weird examples of why whites need to stand together. It was like I was watching American History X. I could only listen to it for so long until I had to get out. And another great point, if she thinks there's nothing wrong with her views, why is she hiding them from her boyfriend? Totally nuts. Anyway, friends, we'll end today's video there. Thank you as always for watching. Love your face, drink the water. And until next time, be good. Bye-bye.